Speaking of businesses, entrepreneurship, and I feel like you got bit by the bug.
What bug?
Entrepreneurship bug.
Oh.
Since we've been married, but you are technically an entrepreneur.
Correct. Which it's always weird to call ourselves that. Mm-hmm.
You're technically an entrepreneur, but then you're also
a podcaster.
You're a podcaster. You're looking for that 8 figures or 8,000 or 800 or $8.
Not $8. Get that
$8 on the
podcast.
Only. You have a full-time job.
Yeah.
You're an entrepreneur, but then also you are a mom, a brand new mom. So how do you manage that?
We're 18 months in. Is it still
we
brand
are 18 months in.
I guess in the grand scheme, it's brand new.
You're
when
an
your
entrepreneur.
50.
You have a full-time job, and you are a full-time mom. How do you manage it all?
I manage it by having a nanny.
Okay.
Has helped tremendously.
Not here all day, every day, but...
No, but it does help. Because I guess if you didn't have a nanny, then you'll put them in school. I guess it's the same type of thing, right? That has been helpful. I think also having a husband that doesn't feel like they're babysitting their kid is extremely helpful. All shade to the fathers that do. So having a partner in things, and how else do I balance it? Knowing that it's like it just has to get done. I know that sounds like, that's not telling me how, and I understand that, but there's certain things that just has to get done. Like recording a podcast or going to the gym. It requires me getting up earlier because it just has to get done. That's how I would say I balance it. The delegation, which nanny or just help from you, and knowing that it has to get done. It's part of my responsibilities.
So what's harder for you in this season of life you're in? Entrepreneurship, full-time job, being a mom?
Harder.
What do you think is the hardest role that you have? The most difficult role right now?
Right now, the most difficult role will probably be entrepreneurship. I think when Alani was born, I would have said motherhood, because that transition, the breastfeeding, the being up late or being up early, whatever time you want to call it, that was a difficult season. And then figuring out your life, like you being like, okay, I'm somebody else outside of a mother. That would definitely be a difficult season then. And that was just 18 months ago. Right now, entrepreneurship, because we are in a season of transitioning just our businesses and seeing how I fit into that, because you take majority of the role on when it comes to our businesses. So figuring that part out and then fitting it in while still having a 9-to-5. That's what makes it, I think, the most difficult one.
Do you feel like you leaving a 9-to-5 will make these other parts easier?
Yes, because I will have more time. So the reason it feels a bit difficult because I have to squeeze things in at certain times.
Yeah.
So errands and stuff have to be after work, have to be on the weekend, when it's busy, when it's traffic. I have to wake up at crack of dawn to go to gym. So if I'm able to put things during times that I would want it to be, it will feel differently.
And the question they're going to ask me to ask you is, well, why are you still at your job?
Who going to ask that?
They always going to ask that. No matter what you do, they're going to ask that question.
Yeah. Well, at first, I would say I was still at my job because it was part of my identity. It was part of, like, I went and got my master's. I had all this student loan. And so that was my response to it maybe a year to 2 years ago. Now I'm like, my master's isn't going anywhere. My license isn't going anywhere, even if I stop my job. As long as I do my continuing educations, I will always have that. And so I don't really have an answer as to why I'm still there, but hopefully within the next year or less, I won't be there. That's what I would say.
Year or less. That's a long time to figure this out.
Yeah, okay. To put things in order, hopefully.
That's important. Like, you don't want to, we tell people all the time, is like, you want to have options for what you do. Now we create those options, but you still want to make sure you dot all your T's, you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, at least as much as possible. I think that's a big thing for us, is we don't ever jump anything without making sure we've tried and make sure everything's in order. So
yeah, even when it's in order, we're still like,
it's still not going to be in order no matter what. So that's important to figure out, what your next steps are. So as you're in this season of motherhood, entrepreneurship, 9-to-5, being a wife, what do you feel like is your highest priority right now? I don't feel like it's a balancing act. I think in different seasons, some things are higher, some things are lower. What is the highest priority task?
I think motherhood is always a high priority because there's always different things that, Alani is working towards, or milestones that we're wanting her to reach. One, because she isn't in school, so she isn't in a daycare, I should say. It's not school. She isn't in a daycare, but so making sure that she is doing activities that can still provide her with the same thing a daycare would. Making sure she's getting the knowledge, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, colors, the basics. That's always important. And then experiences. So I know people say, well, they're not going to remember. And frankly, I don't care. I'm big on experiences for myself. And I remember the experiences that I have with my child, and being able to share that, and her being able to explore the world. So I think that that's always a high priority. Entrepreneurship doesn't necessarily always feel like a high priority compared to that because, like I said, you do take a lot of the entrepreneurship side of things on. So, yeah.
Okay. And what are some things that Mrs. Hartzog wants to do outside of this brand that we have, whether it's the Hartrimony, whether it's the podcast?
Well, I don't know how I can go outside of the Hartrimony. I am part of
What are some things that you want to do on your own that you feel like would, like, what's some things that you like to do?
This is a question we always talk about. I'm like, I don't have the answer. Like, what do you guys like to do?
I like to work out. I like to record content. I like to make content.
Okay.
I think I'm a creative. Like, that's my thing. But I think growing up, I always wanted to be an artist, right? I want to draw. And it kind of comes out here. Like, I'm an artist in a different way. So that's me, though. We're talking about you.
Yeah. I do like to work out as well.
Speaking of workout, make sure you grab your Celsius. I'm waiting for my sponsorship from them. Shout out to Celsius.
I do like to work out. I like to have fun. I like to travel a lot. So that would be a priority.
Oh, God, here we go. Travel vlog coming soon from her.
Yeah, I like content, different types of content, though. I know your content is more business oriented. I just like the fun content.
My content is fun.
Not necessarily. That's okay. It
doesn't
doesn't have to be fun.
It depends on what you qualify as fun.
That's fun. That's fair. But yeah, I like to, hopefully one day I'll maybe doing content with Alani. Maybe she can get into some modeling. I never have a list of things that I have in mind, but I enjoy working out and I enjoy spending time with Alani and enjoy traveling.
Okay.
Those are things right there.
I think those are fun things overall. You know, creating content, traveling, of course, is fun. That's one thing you enjoy doing and you do all the time. And you won't.
You do all the time.
You do all the time and you won't stop doing it. So looking forward to the travel content from you. Is there anything else that the people can look forward to from hearing from or seeing from Mrs. Hartzog herself?
Not at this time. I don't think there's anything else. Maybe I'll do a solo episode one day.
What would the episode be about?
No idea, but that would be a big challenge.
Can we challenge her to do a solo episode?
What would the solo episode be about? What questions would people have that they would even want to hear from me? I don't know.
Maybe we have a segment on motherhood and money, motherhood and entrepreneurship, like motherhood and 9 to 5, like whatever that is. I think that'd be good. If you got
somebody has a question, they can write it in the comment, and then maybe we can make an episode from it.
You guys drop a question. If you listen to this full episode, drop a question from Mrs. Hartzog here. Well, actually, last question. Where does your name come from, Janoka?
What? It's made up.
Can you elaborate on that? What does made up mean?
My mother made the name up. She always liked J and K names, and she made up the name Janoka. It has a JH because when you say it in Spanish, it is said as a Y. Yeah, that's it. There's no meaning behind it. It's just simply Janoka, and in Spanish it would be Yanilka.
Okay,
that's it.
We couldn't have any better guest to have on our podcast than Mrs. Hanilka Hartzog.
It's not Hanilka. It's not an H. Why?
So say it.
I did.
Say it again.
Yeah.
Yanilka.
The JH becomes a Y sound.
Yanilka Hartzog.
You're so American.
I am wild American. But you guys check out. Make sure you drop us a 5-star review. If you enjoyed this whole episode with just me interviewing Mrs. Hartzog here, drop us a 5-star review. I think you guys learned a lot about who she is. Is there anything else you want to leave with the people?
Not that I can think of. I'm sure there's more to me that you didn't dig into, but that's fine. Can't get it all, one episode.
We could definitely do another one. I'm always open to practicing my interviewing skills. So appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you next week on the More Than a Side Hustle podcast.
Thanks for having me. My own podcast.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Bye.